Everyone, welcome to VO in Stereo. As always, I'm your host, Jared Breshers, with
Stephen Coghill.
And today, the introduction today. It's not every day you get to be around royalty. That's right. Please help me introduce the Queen Bee herself. With 30 years in the talent business, she is also a tech entrepreneur and is the supreme leader of cast voices, cast actors, and production junction, with also being a kick-ass mama bear to four. Please help me welcome Liz Atherton.
Oh, I humbly walk in. That was awesome.
Fantastic.
I mean, the delivery is what was primo. Well done,
I learned
sir.
it all from you, Dad. I learned it all from you.
Well, bravo, sir. Bravo.
Welcome. Thank you so much for cutting out some time for us today.
Of course.
Such a pleasure.
Super exciting for me. So, well, I get a little excited after the intro, as you can see. So I'm going to hand it over some Stephen. No, Stephen, go ahead.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Whoever that Stephen guy is, we'll let him take. Oh, that's me. So my first question to you, my dear, thank you for being on. Such a pleasure. Is where are you from?
I'm from Denton, Texas. Born and raised way back in a time foregone. But yeah, and I've lived in Texas most of my life. I took a little stint here and a little stint there. And I skirt over to Maui and hide in the jungle every chance I get. But yeah, pure and bred Texas girl. And no, I do not have much of an accent.
Hardly at all.
I know.
Oh, bless y'all's heart.
Honey. Sugar. Anyway.
So did you have any siblings, brothers, sisters?
I did. So I was raised in Denton. I have an older sister, Sharon, and a younger sister, Emmy. And my dad was in the jingle business. And I think at least up until some deadline, he was the most prolific jingle writer in the world. And so I think the first time I was in a studio, it was an embryo, pretty sure. And then when I was young, I used to sing on commercials and stuff, but the whole studio thing, remarkably, I came back around to it, but it was not my love or my forte. I had dreams of doing this and that, and ended up here I am in the business as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. That says that he's like one of the number one jingle producers of all time. Jody Lyons, correct? Did I
Yes,
get it right?
Jody Lyons, Lyons. Yes. It's sadly, we had, when he passed, we had lots of people trying to get a hold of all these reel reels that he had and all this stuff. And, over time we had it and then didn't. But I do have, you can't see him, they're off camera. He was such a musician. I have 3 of his saxophones, 1 of his clarinets, his flute and his piccolo, and my son has another one of his clarinets. So someday it is my hope that I can reach out to the University of North Texas, because he was part of their 1 o'clock lab band. He was the only one that sat in for Doc as a guest director. I mean, my dad was really talented. But I'd like to kind of take all these instruments and put them on loan permanently to UNT, because I do think he's part of their heritage and, part of their history, and especially their school of music. I just wish I'd followed. I actually don't wish I'd followed in his footsteps, but I did get to play, and I sure enjoyed the journey. It just wasn't going to make money for me, but I certainly enjoyed it.
That's awesome.
So you got into music and you tried music yourself. What instrument did you try? Look, she's squinting.
Well, I took, and I've also got over here, you can't see it off camera. I guess I could kind of turn it a little bit. If you could kind of see, there's one of his saxophones, and and I have a baby grand. And then his other instruments are kind of in there. And that's My Lovely Art by David Weiss. But anyway, I played piano. I took piano for about 7 years. And then when I was in high school, I had a gig. And this is kind of funny segue today. I had a gig singing at the only dinner club in town. And I remember I got a call from some fancy dude out of Dallas coming in. And to see if they were going to hire me, because somebody told him he didn't to come listen. Figured out he came the wrong day. He was coming to hear somebody else. I didn't get hired, but music is, I mean, it pulses in me, and maybe it does you guys too, whether I'm really good at it or not. But jump forward
Music?
to,
I've never heard of it.
yeah, I know, right? Jump
It's
forward to
enough out
last
to you,
night.
smart ass.
Exactly. So I haven't really sung. I mean, I would, theater, it was fun to sing, all that kind of stuff. I never did anything with it. But last night, late in the night, I get invited to go do karaoke. Now, mind you, I haven't done karaoke really ever. I mean, a little bit in my living room, in the car, but not in front of a bunch of people. And because of the pandemic, and everybody was being very safe, and that was really encouraging. But there's just not that many people singing karaoke at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday night. So I got 4 or 5 songs. I'm like, I'm feeling no pain and whatever. Anyway, about third song in, this girl comes over to me and says, "Hey, I own this bar in Liberty Hill, and I'm going to pay you to come sing." And I was like, "Oh, you are kidding me."
Moving on up.
Very
Like,
nice.
yeah, all I need is a lead guitar and a bass player and a drummer and a set list, and I'm all there for
Fantastic.
$50, I'm sure. But anyway, it was such a thrill. I got to tell you, it was a good buzz for me.
That's
Made me feel
awesome.
good.
So, what was one of the songs, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I sang Patsy Cline, Crazy, and then I sang some Beatles, and then but the song that drew him is I sang Disturbed's version of Sound of Silence. Hello, darkness. I'm just up there, I am cutting loose in my fervor, but I felt really tough, man. I got there and I was wearing my Doc Martens and my black sweater. Anyway, it was
You should
Liz and her crazy.
What's that one song? I'm gonna be. That's awesome.
Wow.
That's phenomenal. That's a hell of a
Yeah,
thing.
this is gonna be one of those interviews. I can
No,
tell.
that's
Oh,
fine. That's,
I'm sorry, y'all. This ain't gonna be serious. If y'all don't, you might as well just buckle up now. It ain't gonna get any better. The hell's wrong with y'all? Y'all done come to the wrong place. Go get some biscuits.
You sound like my friend Elliot. You know Elliot.
I hope so.
I know,
If not,
right?
this is gonna be really
you just
awkward.
sound like you were channeling Elliot. And I love me some
Elliot, you sweetheart, you reach out to me and I'll reach into you and pull that feeling out, son. I love you. All right, then.
Steven's up there going, ladies
No.
and gentlemen, what
I
is
just-
going
I-
on?
I just
He's
let
like, this
Jared
is why
do
I
his
live
thing.
north of the Mason-Dixon. Oh, you
That's
don't
right.
actually, do you?
No, right on the border. Right on the border. So music wasn't your big love
I loved it. I
after
just
all.
wasn't
You
good
love
enough
music.
at it.
Just you weren't gonna make money
All
at
right.
it.
So I was on the 47-year plan in college. I
Overachiever.
I went to the University of North Texas also in Denton. I turned down a scholarship to Rice. I'm not quite sure what I was thinking in math. And I was like, I had a crush, so I went to North Texas and had to pay for it. But I studied, my degree is in management with an emphasis in personnel management and organizational behavior. And then I have a minor in math and a minor in psychology. And interesting enough, all 3 of those blend very well for the way I made most of my living, which is as a talent agent. Before that, right out of college, and even partially during college, I was working in high tech. And my last stint in high tech before becoming a talent agent, and actually I did it concurrently. I was just a silent partner. I was a project manager at a Fortune 10 company, and we put out a beautiful, the first 2.6 gigahertz and kind of 2.4 gigahertz, one of those gigahertz, long time ago, the Gigaset telephone, and I was the project manager for it. And that was there were 150 people, amazing people in this team. And, during that time, I think I'm the first talent agency in the world, if not the first, the second, that had a website. Because, that's what we do. We're productive and we're technical. And why can't I have a website? And this was, in the early 90s. And from there, that grew into an interactive website. One of the guys that I knew, that was actually one of my children's godfather, had retired and wanted to do some software development. And so we created this very cool tag site, which was people could update their resumes. They could do, it was them. They were responsible for it. And so their content was as good as they would make it. And from there, back in 95, I reserved casting.com. I had this long-term vision of doing what we're doing now. And it didn't come into fruition until this past year, but it wasn't for trying. And one of my children, who also works in the business, is also very technically oriented, and he taught himself how to code. And he took a job as a stack developer in LA, and within a month was the lead stack developer and then inspecting code. Well, naturally, he and I jumped into business together to build what we're doing now, which is Cast Voices. And I didn't mean to do that whole long story to get me there, but that's kind of how I got there.
About you. You go ahead, boo-boo. Go ahead.
As he yawns. Okay, ask me more questions. Sorry, I got off.
This whole thing is about you. If you go off for the next 45 whatever minutes, it doesn't matter, because this is about you.
Let's just keep it clean. Okay, so keep going.
No. Redact those photos I sent you.
Yes, we'll have no talk of that.
Okay.
I got a question.
Okay.
What is your favorite music to listen to when it's time to get blank done?
Oh gosh, to get stuff done, or to dance, or to
just to get it done, push through, motivation.
I presently am listening to a station I created called The Verve. And so it's The Verve, and it blends in some ELO, and it brings in my favorite song right now, which is If You Wanna Take My Picture. It's this great song from an Adam Sandler film. Anyway, it blends them all together. And so I get some really nice jams going. And I plug my earphones in. I'm home alone on this pandemic stuff. And so I find that I don't watch TV. Although I will watch some of those. I just watched Queen's, it's this girl who plays chess. It was so good. Anyway, I digress. So the music. So the Verve station is really good. And then my other go-to 100% is my Sheryl Crow station. It's got Sheryl Crow, Casey Musgraves, little Linda Ronstadt thrown in every once in a while. Or
so
good rock
music.
And roll. Moby, I like Moby. It's just this real random set of music.
That's good though.
And,
variety is the spice of life.
Yes,
unless it's
sir,
cayenne pepper, and that will burn the shit out of you.
That's true. I've heard that.
It is true.
So so you got Cast Voices, and then how did that progress? How did that develop?
So about 3.5 years ago, August 11th or 7th, whatever day it was exactly, when the big announcement came through that Voices had purchased voices.com. That was in August. That very same month, the system that we had built for TAG, my talent agency at the time, the Atherton group, they moved our server. And when they moved our server, it almost just crashed. It actually did crash us, because our program was over 20 years old and band-aided and put together and doing what it needed to do, but not on any kind of global scale. It handed the talent on the site, but that was it. So all that happened, those things happened literally within 2 days of each other. And Nick, my partner, and I talked about it, and we said, well, we can do one of two things. We can Band-Aid it again, or we can rip the Band-Aid off and really go forward. And we ripped the Band-Aid off. And, thank goodness for my community and my agency at the time, because that was very difficult. You're shutting down your gateway to information and reprogramming it with a longer term goal in mind, which we decided we were going to jump headlong into creating Cast Voices at that time. And so there was this big effort. And but we were both all in until, well, we got funding, and then that funding fell through, and then we got additional funding, but it wasn't enough. And this went on for about 3 years, and it was really hard. And because I just was passionate about this. I knew this was what we were going to do. It was going to be good. And, we were just all in. And then we couldn't get funding. And in the meanwhile, I got invited to speak. J. Michael puts on these great events in Europe, and I got invited to be a speaker in Barcelona. And I was like, yes, please. And so, and right before I boarded the plane, Nick and I had just decided, and this is God's truth, we're not going to do this anymore. I'm going to go to Barcelona. I'm going to have a really good time, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to find something to do, because I had no revenue stream. We had jumped in full force. And let me tell you, there is, and it is true, if you're an entrepreneur, you'll go without eating for weeks and not think twice about it. And that's a true statement. So, it's like, well, okay, we've kind of reached the end of the end. Go to Barcelona, and I'm coaching a class. And we kind of got off topic a little bit, kind of like I do frequently. We were talking about,
I noticed.
we were talking about, what got us here. And there were 3 guys in this class, and Joe Davis, Bobby Alcott, and John Malone. And not Joe Davis, Joe Lewis. I'm sorry. And I said, well, I've kind of made this decision. Y'all know I've been talking about cast voices. I've announced it and had to unannounce it. And we're just kind of a gut talk. I walk out of there, and it wasn't a pitch. It was just a talk. And Bobby Alcott, actually, it was later in the day, talks to me, and he says, I want to invest in your company. And I'm like, wait, what? And it was mind blown. And I just got to tell you, if there is a God, and I won't debate that with anybody, we all think and believe, and whatever floats our boat, floats our boat. But I will tell you, meeting the Alcotts has paved a journey for me that I could only dream. They are such amazing humans. One, yes, they invested, thank God for that, but that we also brought them on as active participants. And so Elizabeth is this brilliant marketer. And so she's an investor, but she's also comes in as a marketer. And Bobby, we give him all sorts of titles. Bobby is our litmus test. He's like, if something, he's quiet, and then this doesn't resonate. And it's really such, so we call him, I think today's title is Director of Investor Relations, but who knows? It's whatever he wants to call himself. And we've had to do some activities together that are strenuous and difficult. I mean, we turned around and hired a software studio to do our development. That's just been an interesting journey. We were supposed to launch in July. We were supposed to launch in October. And our latest thing is we're going to launch in 5 months. And we're like, no. So we're trying to come up with an alternative plan. So it's just, all of this doesn't surprise me. I mean, I came from tech. I came from project management. I came from all of this. So all of this resonates, but there's things I certainly could have done better. All of us could have done better, but the journey with the Alcotts and then coming in when they did, and the product that we are putting out, well, the journey has just been, I am such a grateful human for given that opportunity, especially this stage, even with a ponytail. I'm no spring chicken, but the other side of it is that I love my work, love it. And I'm so proud of the culmination of it. So there you go.
Awesome.
Oh,
Yeah,
great.
the Alcotts are pretty sweet.
Yeah, just amazing humans.
He's
Truly.
a funny wackadoodle.
He is a funny wackadoodle.
He's got a He's got a pretty singing voice. I like to hear him do his
He
little
does have a
karaoke
pretty
down there.
singing voice.
Just sing to me, Bobby.
Just sing. I
Sing to me
know.
now, Bobby.
Sing to
Just
me,
sing.
Bobby.
And he's actually really creative with graphics design, and he's also been a web developer, and he's a jingle singer, and I mean he's a sailor. You know, his repertoire of life experience is really impressive.
Ahoy, matey.
Uh,
Talking to you, Bobby, if you're watching this. Permission to come aboard.
Bobby, run, Bobby.
You can't run that fast, Bobby. You ever seen Kung
fast.
Fu Panda? I'm gonna get you.
Run deep.
That's awesome. Let's see. Changing gears just a little bit. I read this and it really made me laugh. A dog named Fish.
I do.
A dog named Fish.
And
elaborate
he's
on a
asleep
dog named
over
Fish.
there. I do have a dog
Aw.
named Fish. And it's interesting. I'm trying if I can figure out all the semantics.
I doubt it.
I'll get to the reason about dog named Fish. It's a story like all of them, but I'm trying to get out of Texas for January, February, and March, or mid-December forward, because we get this pollen called cedar and cedar fever, and it really wrecks me. Difficult. It is hard. So I have this crazy plan. I have a travel trailer that I bartered for. I think my old Jeep will pull the travel trailer, and I'm going to take this 3-month road trip, right? And so in the meanwhile, I'd like someone to sublet my space from me that I know I can trust, you know, because whatever. And so my son knew somebody, and he says, "Oh, well, will Fish be going with you?" I said, "Well, no, I'll need someone to feed the fish." And he's like, "Oh, the fish is not going with you." He's going, and I do have a dog named Fish, but Fish is going with me. But I also have Fish. I have 4 water features. So anyway, random story. That they're random, but
Those are the best
yes,
kind of stories.
his name is Fisher Cutbait, and it's Fish for short. And he is almost 17. And then I had Gidget, Gracie Grasshopper, who passed away this past year, and she lived to be 20. So yeah, I have other destinations I'd like to go to for my sabbatical from Cedar, but he's too old. I can't. He's got to go with me, or I've got to go with him. Whatever that story is. So I've kind of got my eye on landing in Hollywood. They have this little RV park, and I don't even know if there's. I don't want to make a reservation until I know I can get there. But it's a little RV park, very kitsch, very film oriented, in the middle of town. And I'm like, I'm going to park there for a month. I'm like, heck yeah. And then another place I found is in Malibu, and you either have an ocean or a mountain view. And I'm like, so I'm finagling. And all that is what you get information when you ask about a dog named Fish.
We asked for
You
it.
heard it here first, folks.
We did ask.
We did.
So Cast Voices, is that so from what you're telling me, is that up and running?
It is. We are. The front end is just about complete. A lot of the back end is done, but a lot of that back end, it's a relational database. So it's a real big, real program. It's not running on other platforms and collecting data or anything like that. So where we have work right now is on the back end, which is connecting everything, making it work. And so no, it's not up and running, but some of it is on the development side, but not out there. We do encourage people, if you're so inclined, to go out to castvoices.com and register. All you're doing is putting your name and phone number information, right? But what that'll get you is you'll get notified when we can launch, and you'll also get a coupon for some free time on the site. It is a subscription-based site, but you don't have to subscribe to play. So it's not really a P2P, but I can see where people would think it is. You can have a profile for free, and you can be invited. And if you match, you can get in there. But there's a lot of perks if you do subscribe. And our most expensive, we call the premium, is our premium is the it's $25 a month or $250 a year. So we're really reasonable. And then our midline, our pro, is 15 a month or 150 a year. And then there's the free. And I mean, the feature set is remarkable. You basically can customize within our selections the way your profile looks. You can list all your agents. You can put your contact. You can put your studio set up. And I know you can do that on a lot of places, but you can also manage what demos you put up. You can change those at any time. You also, it manages all your auditions. It holds them and archives them. You don't have to keep them on your computer, although I wouldn't imagine any VO that wouldn't, but you know, but the cloud up there. And then on the casting side, all the submissions and auditions, they get that. There's also casting feedback, which is literal. It's not pick a number. Not that pick a number's bad. It's just they can literally put it in. You get agent notes. It's transparent. We don't take fees for posting any projects. We have an abundance of criteria that a casting director can put in. You know, we have lots of feature sets that are just, perhaps they're out on the others as well, but ours, we feel really strong, and it keeps all that data flow. A casting director can choose to invite people to participate one of three ways. One is platform. You put in all the criteria of what you're looking for. And, you know, Jared, if you match that criteria, then you get an invitation to audition. The way we're working that is the casting director can then determine if they want to see everyone that wants to audition, or if they only want to get the first 100 or the first 200. And so it's kind of incumbent upon you, because we're not ranking you per se. We're not saying, oh, well, you paid X amount of $1,000, so you're always going to get the invitation first. If you match the criteria, and that's the way the casting director invited you, then you are invited to play, and you get it in there and you play. We're trying to mitigate risk there, because we don't want a bunch of not good people submitting first. But the reality is that, listen, it's a big competitive market. Pay attention. So that's one way. The other thing that I'm really proud of is we have an agent interface, and they can work directly with agents, and it's proprietary. And, you know, the agents are on there, and then the agent can have an agent page where all of her talent or his talent shows up on the agent page. There's interface. They can manage their projects there. They can also manage their own projects there if they want to upload it and manage it to keep all the files up there. They can put agent notes in, and it's, you know, it's a really good way to do things. My neighbor's coming in. I'm going to tell her just a second. Come on in. Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
I'm being interviewed, but come on in. Just have a seat. I'll be off in just a minute.
Live TV.
This is live TV. Thank you, Chris. Just a second. And so the agent interface is a really good one, because it works as close to the old voice bank as there was, except that the agent can keep those files forever and a day, and everything's beautiful, and it's really nice. And then the third way that a casting director can invite you is directly. They can say, I've put in these emails, or I've created these distribution lists or rosters, however you want to call it, and I want these people to be invited, and I want to set up my rosters on my computer, copy those in, and then just invite those people. And that is happening more and more on the advertising agency front. And so those kinds of things are fun to create, those kinds of data and information. And then on the talent side, you know, if you're free, you get limited what you can post. But if you are a pro or a premier, you get to, you know, you can put videos up there. You can create a banner of your images of your top bookings, you know, Microsoft, whatever you want those. I'm sorry, Chris, you got to be real quiet over there, hun. My mic is picking up all of that. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that.
It's 2 minutes on a microwave burrito.
It is the 2 minutes on a microwave burrito. You're fine, hun. I just give you a few seconds.
You can eat, Chris. Trust me. I like to eat. You can eat.
That's all good. Anyway, so we have some feature sets, and then one of the things we're also building in is a rate calculator. We verify all of our rates against the GVAA rate guide. It's a heck of an algorithm. I can't even begin to tell you. And so you can still choose to play, but we encourage on the casting side, as they're putting in the product, if they put it in low, we're like, you know, you'll get better people if you pay a competitive rate, we kind of do a match that way. And the same thing when it comes in your inbox, right? It tells you there's a little code. Does it meet the GVAA guidelines? You know, you can still go look it up. You can still gut feel. You can still decide if you want to participate. But those kinds of things are built in. And then if you're an upgraded member, eventually we're going to have a rate calculator that you can kind of put in your parameters, and it'll tell you what your rate should be. So we're
That's
real. And this is only our minimal viable product, our MVP, but it's very feature rich. And our roadmap is really strong.
Well,
And then eventually we're going to roll out cast actors, which is a whole nother layer, a big layer of stuff, because it's for the on-camera community. So yeah, I'm really excited. Can you tell I'm excited? I'm really proud of it, because we did it from the talent perspective, what was important for the talent to be able to show and highlight and do out on that stuff. So, you know, I feel really good about it.
Well, I'll be one of the first ones to say, after, you know, hearing the price points you just discussed and being in this for, you know, what, maybe I think 5 years now, something like that. That is not ridiculous at all. And that's a hell of a good price point. And I mean, some of these
Agreed.
places are charging, I won't mention places, but I get pretty pissed off when I see, oh, you know, you pay for a membership and all of a sudden you're like, you get an email and the email says, you know, audition right now. And you go and you look at it and there's 30, 40 people ahead of you already. It's just like,
Well, this again, if they do platform, this is what I call platform invite, right? If they do platform invite, well, there's a feature that I'm trying to get in. I don't know if it'll get in yet, so I won't even bring it up. But if you get platform invite and they could be, let's just say there's 1,000 matches. I'm just picking a number, right? Then they could say, I want to see 1,000 inputs. It does stop at their time limit, right? It ends at this minute, right? So if you don't get it in before their deadline, then you're done. But they do have the option as to how many reads they want. And if they don't find what they're looking, then you didn't get in, and they open it up another 50 or 100 people, you get a re-invite to come back in and say, hey, you can do it. But you can only submit once, because it's tied to your email address. And listen, that's pet peeve in casting, you know. If you want to give me 2 or 3 takes, if that's what I'm looking for, cool beans. But submitting under one agent and then submitting under another agent and doing all that's not cool. And so we don't allow it within the site.
I never even thought about something ridiculous like that.
Well, listen, be an agent for 25 years and you'll see.
Yeah, rules are made by bad people's decisions.
Yeah.
There's a reason why there's a warning label on a toaster not to take it in a bathtub, people. Somebody did that once. Once. They did it once. That's all it took.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, thank you, though, about that, because I feel like our price point is really competitive.
It's fantastic.
You know, and yeah, you know, we're certainly hoping for some volume, but we're trying to make it as fair as possible. And we've already got some really good, I'm so excited about this one. We have an advisor, Adam Creighton, that's joined our team. And Adam is also a software developer. He owns a software studio, but he works for the big dogs. He creates these games for the big gamers. Nice. Okay. That's what he gets hired to do. He also has an acting background. So he is very familiar from both a technical connection standpoint as well as an acting standpoint, and friends with many of the gamer and animation casting directors. And so, yeah, we're pretty excited and he's really digging the product line. And we kind of give it what's called a gamified experience, if you will. You know, you get rewards for doing what you need to do. But I think that his joining our team is just going to be awesome. I'm just really, really excited about it. He's a good dude. I'm probably speaking because it's not announced yet, but it's done. But yeah, it's a win. We're trying to come at this where we bring you good quality products. Who doesn't? I mean, you know, listen, right. There's room for many of us that are in the software business. You know, kudos to people that are doing it. Most of them. I will qualify that because some of the business practices out there kind of, but anyway, for us, it's transparent. We take no fees. And for us, the long range plan that we have, that, you know, we eventually want to be this communication platform for the business of VO. You know, not out there, but the business of VO, trying to get your work done and trying to get attention and pitching and all that kind of stuff. And we at least know what we want, and I think we can technically make it happen. So it's and that because of, I mean, God, my partner is so brilliant. And then, you know, Bobby and Elizabeth are just so brilliant. And, you know, the suggestions flow freely. And then Adam, just wait till you see him speak. You will just be blown away. I just feel like I'm in heaven. I mean, I say that, but I really do. I am working with my tribe, my VO tribe. You guys are, I have no idea why people want to talk to me. I don't know why they call me the Queen Bee. It's just funny stuff.
I think it's your northern accent.
Is that it? It's my northern self.
It's that thick New York accent that you have.
That's it.
How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
How you doing? See, there I came from Jamaica again. I'm just saying. I was in Ireland, and we were like, I can talk Irish. Yes, I can.
Oh, hello, man.
Like,
oh, can you? Can you?
You're like from
can
Princeton.
Oh, damn it, Liz. I'm telling you, everything is from Jamaican.
He's from Jamaica.
Get the hell out of that shed.
I do like Jamaica. I've climbed a waterfall in Jamaica.
Hey,
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. I got one more question for me, and I'll turn it back over to Stephen. From being from the casting sides for such a period of time and seeing all the changes, this is a pretty important question. So you're speaking to everybody from newbies to stagnant voiceover actors. What is the one piece of advice you think every one of us should know, and if we've forgotten, be rechecked? And
well, first and foremost, follow the directions. First and foremost, and I say that powerful with a P and a F, because listen, if that casting director says, I want you to name it J-A space R space E space D, name it exactly like they want. Give them what they want on their auditions. Listen, nothing will piss. Look, as you know, there are 220, or at least one point, there were 220 voiceover talent agents, right? So you can assume that each of them has a roster of, say, 300 to 400 people. And let's just say 400 because that's a number I can multiply in my head. Let's just say 100 of those are crossover talent. They've got several of those people. So we have a unique 300 actors per agency. That's probably a little egregious, but let's just say it. Times 200, that's 60,000. I mean, 300 times 2, 60,000, right? Or 6,000, whatever. It's a lot of people. It's that many. I think it's 60,000.
Numbers.
Not
hey, Google,
good.
What is 300 times 220?
The answer is 66,000.
There you go. Okay, there are 66,000 potential people auditioning for that role through agents, right? So even if you tell the agents to send 5 each, you still got 1,000, right? And all you need is something to say, done. You don't name it right, done. You don't send in your non-compete, done, blah, 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 blah. Why give them that? And then my second thing, and this is me and my predictions, and, my VO woo-woo is just in my head, but nonetheless, I think people should really cultivate their accents back. Yes, if you've got the conversational, non-accent, whatever stuff down, but if you recognize right now, especially during the pandemic, everything is talking to you and everything's being redone. And what commercials are catching your attention? The one where they have somebody talking in their native tongue. And if you don't believe me, go watch. I'm just telling you. So I think if you get an opportunity to throw in a character voice or a legitimate accent or one that you've cultivated as a second read, then do it, because I think that kind of stuff sticks out. And that's my 2 cents worth. Never, if the casting director says don't do that, or that your agent says don't do that, those are your kingpins. Those are the people that you certainly want to follow. But that's it. Follow directions and get creative. Be creative. Do creative. You are in a creative business. Do it.
Do it now.
Do it
Go
now.
be
Do it
creative
now,
into the
Jamaican.
creative
Do it
chapter.
now, Arnold.
If it's creative, we can kill it. I mean, don't kill it. No.
Get your ass to castvoices.com.
Yeah, she gives all the good answers. Yeah.
It's fantastic, of course. Don't be
She's going to
ridiculous.
pump your game up on your VO. Want to turn the wimpy VOs into the big strong VOs.
We are from Jamaica.
Come on. Liz, thank you. You love you so much.
Oh, today was so much fun.
You got anything else, Steven? This is
I do have
one.
one. I want to touch on one subject before we leave you.
Oh, touch on it, girl.
And
Go,
that's
baby.
Camp VO.
Oh gosh, we're not going to resurrect it.
I'm not going to resurrect it, but we just and in our interview with Cliff Zellman, he brought it up too, which was a big point that you were like one of the first people to actually say, "Hey, let's not all kill each other. Let's live another day."
I have no regrets. It cost me a
You
lot
put
of
your people
money.
before money, and we love
I'm
you
still
for it.
out a lot of money, and it is my cross to bear, and it is what it is, and I'll hopefully get on the other side of that. Well, I will. No, there's no hopefully. I'll get on the other side of that and get all that fixed. But here's the thing, guys. I don't care who we are. You see a pandemic coming your way. You have scientists telling you stuff is happening. You pay attention. It's probably no secret. I certainly have some health risks. We also had other people that were part of the team that had health concerns. And before I pulled the plug on that, I have a really, really good friend of mine who is worked with Ebola. And he's like, I said, his name's Greg. I said, Greg, what do you think? He said, give me a week. So we talked about it. And then my daughter is in med school. We talked about it. She didn't have as strong in his opinion, but Greg and I were. And then I was like, this isn't going away. And that whole gist of Camp VO. I mean, we had 150 people and 50 speakers, and we were going to be on this beautiful piece of land, and all encompassing, huggy, kissy, lovey, all that stuff. I'm like, and if one person brings that, I could never live with myself ever. And there were some other people behind the scenes that I took a lot of counsel before I did it, because I knew my answer, but I wanted validation. And it was interesting when I did. I won't tell you the behind the scenes shit that went down, pardon my language.
No,
and the criticisms that I got from
I got your back, girl.
Yeah, no, we all got your back, because it was the right decision.
And I want to thank you. And if Cliff said something along those lines too, big hug to Cliff, because, within Camp VO, for the most part, everybody was agreed. Everybody was agreed. And I know people have taken some of their stuff virtual, but that wasn't the point of Camp VO. We had interactive classes, we had where you screamed and hugged and acted out, because the real goal behind Camp VO, and this would be a little bit more advice, is the acting of voiceover, man. It is what is going to make you stand out. You got to be good at it. And I mean, there's always the need for the standard announcer, let me get my data information out. But I predict, man, the future of VO is going to be much more character-y oriented. And imagine now with all movies and whatnot, the SAG to be on camera list is this big because of COVID. So that stuff's going to, some of it's going to shift to animation, already is. Be ready. Be good at what you do.
Be prepared.
I know, Stephen, that is really nice of you to ask about that. And I appreciate the pat on the back, but I have zero regrets about it. And eventually, like I said, the impact to me financially, I'll get through, but zero regrets about it.
I feel bad for that, but I wanted to go personally, and was upset that it didn't happen. But again, it was the situation. So
well, thank you
be
for
mad at the
bringing that up.
situation, but nobody could certainly be mad at you, because you didn't do anything. You reacted to the situation, and
I just was ahead of the game, so it caused kind of a chat fest.
You set a precedence.
Well, I did, and it angered some of my peers in the
Well, you can
platform.
send who's ever angry with you to me, and I'll stick him in my belly button, and then we'll see how angry they all get to be after that.
I'll sing at him.
There's a joke in Hollywood that says, "They can't take a joke, fuck them." I don't know. I mean,
Exactly.
what are you going to do?
Knock, knock. Go fuck yourself.
Pretty much. You can't please them all. You know, can't please everybody. But it was the right decision. So
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Liz, thank you so much for cutting out this time for us. And
This was tons of fun. I appreciate you guys, and I'm gonna go let my neighbor turn on the microwave now.
all right, Chris, eat your food. Get your burrito in, buddy. Well,
I know he's hungry.
Everybody,
It's a she. It's a she.
She's
It's
hungry. Somebody's
my
hungry.
contact with human interaction, man.
Somebody.
sorry, Chris. I mean,
She
sorry,
keeps me
Chris.
sane. She's outside.
Nice.
Y'all are the rock stars. Thank
That's been
you.
Another episode of VO in Stereo. As always, Jared Breshers, your host, with
Stephen Coghill.
and thank you so much again. One more time, Liz. Thank you so much. The Queen Bee. Oh, did you notice? We got the bees out. We got the bees out. We got our bees out for the Queen Bee shout. Woo! All right, guys.
Crazy.
You wouldn't have us any other damn way.
We're insane, but it's a good
Right?
insane.
I like that kind of insane, gentlemen. I like it.
Sweet. Thanks, everybody. Tune in next time for the next crazy guest. We'll see
Thanks
you
for
later.
joining us.
Thank you.